Today we are going to have an amazing trip, all-day trip in Dalyan. Dalyan is a very special place. It's one of those places that you can visit over and over and over again, and you feel like you want to come back because first of all there's so much to do, so much to see, but also it's one of those special places that keeps calling you back. I think this is either my 10th or 11th trip to Dalyan, and it's a city, it's a little town that is filled with history. It's a town that is filled with natural beauty, endangered species from birds to caretta turtle. History galore, I want to really emphasize that. And also for those of you who seek leisure, chill time, beach, it has one of the most stunning blue flag beaches in Turkey. It's going to start with a beautiful boat trip. We're going to talk about the history a little. We are going to taste their amazing, famous blue crab, and they are huge. They are these giant blue crabs. And from there, we are going to have some other interesting human stories, including rescue efforts for these endangered species. Currently, there are only 2,000 of these caretta turtles left, and more. Again, as you go through this town of Dalyan and what it represents, and as you hear the human stories, you're going to see that there exists no such things as gaps between us. So let's bridge the gap and do so today in Dalyan. Right behind me here are these rock graves, rock tombs that are 2,500 years old left from the Lycians. You're looking at 2,500 years old history. This is where Koreans were buried with their belongings, with their gold. And I have here an expert on the region's history, including Dalyan's history. But as I've said, it's a place where you have a gorgeous beach. We're gonna go visit it in a few minutes. Magnificent history, 2,500 plus years old. And you have the endangered species such as the caretta turtles and so many different types of bird species. I can't describe the weather, the air, the mystique of the whole place. I would say to anyone that I speak about Turkey, I would say it's a must visit, must stay town for whether you're a history buff, whether you love food, whether you're into gorgeous beaches. Now with that, let's talk about this. This is
It's amazing. I mean, it's the history. It's the rock tombs, the area from Marmaris start till go to the Antalya area, the Lycian areas. That people before Christian 400 they built these rock tombs because they believe reincarnation, second life. So that's why that people built these rock tombs. They take all souvenirs, golds, clothes, and everything inside of the tombs. When they come to the second life again, they want again nice and rich life. This is the main things to build of these tombs.
so they believed in reincarnation.
Yes, they believed in the reincarnation. They believed second life. So the richest people built these tombs, like king, the family from the king. So when they come to the second life again, they want to be again nice and rich life. Now this is also, but there's the most important. They believe to the sun. This is the main reason is that they believe to the sun. They think sun is the god, and they want to close to be god. So that's why they build it high off the mountains. But the very important people, like a king, the family for the king, they put the tombs on the top of the mountains because they are important people. They want to more close to the gods. So that's why they build it so top, high off the mountains. That tombs.
And there are differences in sizes as well. I mean,
Yeah.
there are little ones and then there are big,
The
intricate
big
ones.
ones with the big stone ones, they belong to the king. But that one, the biggest one, they didn't finish it because the history in the book they write.
That
on
one
the-
over there, right?
Yeah, over there. Great Alexander or Persian, no one's know. On the wartime, they came to here, this area, and they didn't finish that tombs. So that's why they didn't finish. But when you come to Fethiye, you see the big ones belong to the Lycian king. But that one is belong to the Carian king. But they didn't finish it. You see the other small one with the stone ones, they are belong to the family from the king, Carian king. But the other on the left side, when you see the small hole, you see on the down to the mountains, they
Right.
belong to the also from the parliament of people.
So the parliamentarians during their times, they lived
Yes.
in that one. Was it because it's more protected?
Small protected, and there's also children for families. All they are be together.
Oh, so they were buried together in these
Buried together in
as
the same-
family with
as
their
family.
children and
Yes.
their.
That's
That's very interesting. Now, what do you think happens? Because they buried them with their gold, money, and everything.
Yes.
So where did are there any money in there? Is there any
No.
gold?
Someone says, but in the book we read them, 18th century, people come from Italy and they open the doors and they take everything off. So most of some Lycian materials, like some souvenirs or like monies and stuff, you can see in Bari Museum in Italy. If you go to the visit to Italy, city Bari,
They took it from here. It's
they
sitting
take
in the
it from
museum.
Yes.
I thought in these types of circumstances, once people find out, they have to return it to the country of origin.
Yeah, but for the tombs are didn't come till this time, 18th century. Italian people they take it.
Well, can't we ask for them back? We want to put it in our museum here because it belongs here to Turkey.
There's so many things in the outside of country. Our governments take contact with them, but still they didn't give us back.
Because I read about some other treasure that I think British Museum, one of them was
Yes.
returning back to Turkey, so it's coming
Not
back
all.
to Turkey.
Not all.
Not all, or not
No.
all. If in
Not
fact,
all.
from what I hear, all the Egyptians' artifacts, they're in the UK, they're in London. And I say, okay, I wonder what exactly the details were with their belief system. But this obsession that I think is shared by so many people about our life and death, mortality and immortality. And with these people, they wanted to be, they were working hard, especially the ones who were rich, saying, okay, I'm going to get myself to this position so that if, or let's say if they really believed, after death, I can get up to the sun and to the gods up there quicker, and therefore I can come back quicker, back to the earth, and we see similar things. I mean, today I'm not saying we are seeing it with tombs, but it's like correlates with I don't know how to put it. I mean, we have people now. We have these billionaires who are spending millions of dollars, who want to make themselves cloned so that they become in some ways immortal, you know? They're like, okay, if you can get my DNA and clone me. They can't do it right now in the US because it's illegal. But I have heard that there are certain countries, I'm not going to name them right now, that if you give them money, you can get it. So again, I don't have the facts on in what stage it is, how many of these cases they have done, but there are people who are willing to pay that money saying, I'm staying alive. So even though I'm dead, there will be another me created, let's say in Argentina or in Israel or somewhere. And I become immortal. I mean, you have some rich people, again, I'm not going to name them, famous rich people who are saying, freeze me, because I believe if I'm frozen after death, then there may be a day or time where the technology can revive me and then I will come back to life again.
We didn't see anyone came back. That normal rich people must be understand the money,
But how do you know?
Never come back.
Well, how do you know? How do you know we haven't come back? How do you know you haven't been on this planet at least 6 more times? How do you know?
I never saw them anyone.
Well, you don't have to be, they don't have to look like us. You can come as a dog. You can come as one of those caretta turtles.
Archaeology says to take nearly minimum 20 years build one tomb.
They spent 20 years.
20 years to build of one tomb. Think about it. That people staying and they build it 20 years waiting to build own tombs before die.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Lifespan was already short during that period, and they spent 20 years of it being preoccupied. Dawn preoccupied with death, 20 years building that. Imagine, they didn't have the modern cranes 2,600 years ago. And you know what is that similar? It's in a way, it's ironic, it's sad. The same people who are spending so much time and attention today, in our modern lives today, so much time and attention on making themselves immortal through DNA cloning or freezing, etc., they spend their day-to-day life on hell, either creating hell, for themselves or creating hell for others. I mean, think about people who are preoccupied with making war, so the war makes business, and then business makes profit, so they will have money. Or people who are making a big deal out of little things in life, the things that are causes of divorces or people falling out with each other. We spend so much time not appreciating today's life, enjoying it and making everybody miserable. I'm not saying all the time, but sometime, and making ourselves miserable, either thinking about past, which is gone, or about the future, which we don't know we are even going to have. Because think about it, we may just die on the way back, to the car, or on the way back to the house. Who knows? So you have today, you have right now, you have actually
happiness for now.
Yeah, it's this moment. Yeah. It's this moment. It's this moment. But how many percent of people? How many percent really?
Very less.
Thinks about this moment, thinks about living it, and by living it, I mean living it fully, to take it in and be here, not 50%, not 60%, but 100%. And if we were to do that, I don't think we would be seeing all these wars, honestly.
No wars.
There won't be wars because
everyone see this nature, see this river, see this sky, and they should be happy. They doesn't need a war. They doesn't need a fight. The people is not happy. This is the problem because
but that's the whole thing. It's the reason people are not happy is because they are not in the moment. It's the other way around. Right. Because they are thinking about the mistakes of the past. Past is gone, finished. We can't bring it back. Done, kaput, finished. Future, you don't even know. You have basically no control over. You only have this moment. And most of the things we are upset about, we are angry about, or we are planning are either past stuff or the future stuff. And looking at this should be a reminder. I mean, this should act as a reminder that concentrate not on the grave that you're going to build 20 years, so that when you die, if you die, when you die, whatever is going to happen to you. But think about right now. And what are you thinking about right now?
I'm happy.
You're happy. You're happy because you're in the moment, or you're happy about something that's going to happen in the future?
I'm happy at the moment.
You know what I'm thinking about?
Whatever.
Blue crab.
Blue crab.
I'm thinking
We get
about.
nice blue crab. Our
I'm
captain will
thinking
do it for
about the
us.
blue crab.
Nice